If there's something that has always mattered to me since I was a kid, has always been truth. In whatever situation, I'm always looking for the truth. I remember when we were young, kids would lie to one another about seeing ghosts, and they would believe one another. I was the only one who didn't believe in ghosts. All the kids that I knew believed in ghosts. They will tell each other stories, crazy stories about ghosts, and they would believe one another, even though all of them were lying. Like, for example, let's just say I go and lie to someone and say, yo, I saw an alien, this alien looked like this and that, and then that person also says, yo, I also saw an alien, it looked like this and that. How would I know that this person is lying, and how would they know that I'm lying? We might end up believing each other, and that's how they believed one another. I was the only one who knew that these kids are bullshitting one another here. They've never seen ghosts. There are no ghosts. It doesn't make any sense. The stories that are saying just do not make sense. But they believed one another. And that made me realize that truth does not matter to humans. What matters is survival. That's it. Because them believing in ghosts made them fit in together very well. I felt excluded in that group because I didn't believe in most of the things that they believed. But they were able to survive very well. They were able to play with one another very well because they believed in the same thing. They were operating at the same level of awareness, And that's why humans do not care about truth. They care about survival. It's because it's very important for their survival. If you care about the truth, fitting in is not really going to be an option. Fitting in is not really going to be an option because we have not reached a stage as a collective where we are capable of seeing the truth. You have to understand that humans are dumb as fuck, just like other animals. We like to think that we're better than them, but no, we're not, man. We're not. Humans are dumb as fuck, man. So we have to accept the fact that we have not evolved enough to actually see things as they are. And many humans are not really thinking deeply enough about things in general. So, they are not really going to see things as they are. And I always say that, the only way to get to truth is through the reasoning. You can't really get to truth by just listening to other people, because people can move you, they can say something that move you a certain way, and you start to just fall in love with what they're saying, and you start to believe them, even if the things that they're saying do not make any sense. So the only way to get to the truth is through reasoning. You must really think deeply. That's how you're going to get to the truth. So many humans do not do that, and that's why we find people believing in stupid things that you can say that this is just fucking ridiculous. And this should be very easy to see. For example, if you believe in Christianity, you believe that that's the right religion, like that's the religion that everyone must believe in, and you think people who believe in other religions are stupid, but they think the same about you because you never took your time to really ask yourself if what you believe is the truth. It's only people who are not survival orientated who really get to the truth, who really see things as they are. If you care more about the truth more than you care about survival, that's how you're gonna really get to understand the truth, or you're gonna get closer to the truth, even if you don't understand the truth entirely, but you will be headed towards the direction. Compared to the people that are not looking for the truth, you will be closer to it. Today I want to talk about the ethics of antinatalism, why I believe that internatalists are right. Because I 100% believe that internatalists are right. Right? I'm an internatalist because I believe that that is the only way that we can really, really change things. If we really decided that we're gonna uh, think about having children before having children, I think that will change a lot. I'm not just talking about everyone not reproducing. I mean, if people really, really were educated enough to really understand the issues that humans have to deal with when they are here, and to really ask themselves if they should be bringing, new conscious beings here, I think it will help a lot. It will reduce suffering, drastically. It would really, really, really reduce suffering. I mean, think about it, man. Let's say nature created us, through a process of evolution, and along the way, we became self-aware. So yeah, nature created agents that became self-aware. And because these agents are self-aware, they are able to experience suffering. They are also able to experience pleasure. And remember, evolution is about survival of the fittest, not survival of the fit. All right? It doesn't mean that if you are fit, you're going to survive. No, you have to be the fittest to survive. Meaning that less than 10% of the agents that nature produces are going to survive. The rest might just exist, but they're not really going to be surviving because they are not the fittest. So when you bring a conscious being here, you're bringing that conscious being to compete. And if it fails to survive or to have its survival needs met, then it's going to experience what? Suffering by default. You are creating that possibility by default. When you bring someone here, you are creating that possibility. It's inevitable. We know for a fact that there's gonna be suffering forever. As long as this world exists, there's gonna be suffering. And when we talk about suffering, I think people really take this lightly. Like, I don't think people really understand how devastating suffering can be. We just want to talk about it, but because when we're talking about it, we're not really experiencing it, so we just think, and it's only when you are really experiencing suffering at that very moment that you actually realize how fucked up it is. And you also have to understand that there are people who are suffering worse than how you have suffered in your life. And not because they are bad people, not because they didn't do the right thing, but because they are not that fit. Because in this world, when you are not fit, not only are you going to suffer, you're also going to be tortured for it. And by fit, I mean fit to live in a particular society at a particular time. I'm not, talking about what we generally think fitness is. Yeah, some people that are not really surviving very well now might have survived very well 500 years ago. It just depends on the rules and the laws, really. So one thing that you really must realize is that we torture people for not being perfect. We torture people for not being fit. The same way that we would feel like bullying someone for having big eyes, for an example. That's how we torture people for not being fit. So let's just say someone is brought into this world, through the process of evolution. Sperm cells do compete, right? And then the one that reaches the egg first is the one that's gonna, come into this world. It starts there, and let's just say things go so well that they come out perfect, they come out healthy. Well, let's say something happens along the way. Let's just say maybe one of their parents die, and maybe it affect them in a way that messes with their heads. Or let's just say maybe because one of their parents died, or let's just say their mother died and then their father married someone else, and that person didn't treat them right and it fucked them up, and then they ended up doing things that go against the rules in this society, and then they get locked up. We will torture them for it without realizing that something happened along the way. They are actually a victim. Them doing things that we do not approve of as a collective does not mean that they are bad. It actually means that something went wrong. We don't care about what process led to something bad happening. We care about just punishing people or torturing people for doing some things that are bad. We've always been like that. Just like I said, the same way that we'll torture someone for having a big nose, the same way that we'll bully someone for having a big nose. You see? That's how we've always been. We are not trying to fix the mistakes of evolution. And people might say, no, we do try. Let's just say someone is born without a hand. We might create an artificial hand for them. But you got to notice that we're not really doing that for the people that that were not born with enough limbs. It's really about us. It's really about us making money here. Because if we're really doing it for them, then all of them would actually have had access to that, you see. But that's not what we are doing it for. We're doing it for selfish reasons. It's the same with people who suffer with, let's say someone has cancer, for an example, and they don't have money to pay for chemotherapy or whatever treatment is available. Do we decide as a collective that, let's help this individual because they're going through this? We don't give a fuck. So we cannot say that we are trying as a society to fix the problems that were caused by evolution or the mistakes of evolution. No, we're not trying to do that. You see, we are always trying to compete. So by default, there's gonna be suffering. Think of this guy, Dr. Sebi, for an example. I think it was proven beyond any reasonable doubt that this guy really found a cure for HIV. But he wasn't really allowed to treat people. He was even taken to court because he tried to cure people. And even though there have been people who said, this guy really did cure me. There were people who were willing to stop him. The reason why is because they are making a lot of money, from just giving these people, what do they call it, RIVs or whatever. They don't really want people to be healed because they are selfish. If they really wanted people to be healed, they would have found a cure by now. You see? So you have to appreciate our level of selfishness here. You must really understand that we're not going to eliminate suffering because we are selfish. I've said this many times that even if they gave us heaven, we'll turn it into hell in the blink of an eye because the problem is us. We are fucking selfish. So there's no way that we're going to eliminate suffering. We're always going to be competing. That's how it has always been. I've said this about Thanos. I said Thanos was right for actually killing half of the population because if he doubled the resources, here's what would happen. Let me tell you what would happen if he doubled the resources. It will mean those that are already rich will get more of the resources that he has doubled. And things will still be the same. There will be no solutions because even now, there's enough resources, don't you think? It's not like there's scarcity in the world. No, there is no scarcity. There's never been scarcity. It's just that people are so fucking greedy and they want to control other people, so they make sure that there's scarcity, you see, so that they will enslave other people. So there's never going to be a point where things are okay. There's never going to be a point where we'll be like, yo man, everything is cool, this is utopia. No, it's not meant to be that way. We're always supposed to be competing. Just like I told you that it's not about survival of the fit, it's about survival of the fittest. A lot of people are fit now, but no matter how fit people are going to be, they will always have to be the ones that are more fit than they are, because that's how evolution works. It always wants humans to be competing, to be competing for survival. Isn't that crazy? So that's why I'm saying antinatalism is actually the right philosophy. People really, really need to think here, because we are slaves of evolution. If we're not going to think, if we're going to undermine our own ability to think, then we will continue to suffer as a species, because of this process. Because we're conscious enough to ask ourselves, is this a good process? Is this really taking us somewhere? We can look at we can look at our history in order to see if this process is actually taking us somewhere. And we realize that no, actually it's not taking us anywhere. Humans are just going to come here and suffer. There will be, a few agents that will be experiencing great things in this life, but most humans are going to be suffering, and it will always be like that. We're not going to change the world, so the only solution is actually antinatalism. People need to really think before they bring conscious agents here. They have to really, really think about the lives that these conscious beings are going to have. It's very, very important, and I think that's how we can really, really minimize suffering. Thank you.